Live from the Talking Joe Studios. It's Talking Joe.
Talking Joe is on the air.
Hey, it's me, Mark, and you are listening and or watching Talking Joe, the G.I. Joe comics podcast. If you're new to the show, you can find out all about us over our website, which is talkingjoe.co.uk. Now, on today's episode, we are talking once again to G.I. Joe artist Andrea Milana, who we last spoke to all the way back in June 2024. Do you remember that? Oof, heady days. That was following the conclusion of the Cobra Commander series, but he has since worked on Destro with issue number 3, the Energon Universe Special 2025, and most recently, G.I. Joe issues 7 through 11. But I will not be talking to Andrea alone. As always, I will be joined by my co-host. It's a real American Tim. It's Tim Finn.
Hello, Mark, and hello, listeners and viewers. Hey, this is not a G.I. Joe question. I see you have the Nausicaa box set behind you, but it's shiny. Is that still in the shrink wrap?
It's still in the shrink wrap, yeah.
Okay, that's enough.
Terrible.
Let's talk about G.I. Joe.
Here we go. It's Andrea.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me again here.
Thank you for being here again. We're glad we didn't scare you off after the first time.
No, definitely.
Cool. So when we last spoke to you, Andrea, you were joining us from Sicily. Are you still there?
Yep, I'm still there. I just turned the camera. Last time it was facing right there.
So
we got a
behind
different
you,
angle.
Okay, so behind you this time are art supplies. I see brushes and
That's
pens and
That's my
markers.
workstation, yeah.
Okay, and a computer.
Yeah, I have a laptop and a Cintiq I work on.
Okay. So we asked you this last time, but for new listeners and forgetful co-hosts, you draw comics digitally completely? No paper?
Yes, I draw, yeah, that's all digital. But now I'm starting to work traditionally again because I've worked in the past. But as of now, I've just drawn the Battle Beast variant cover traditionally. I don't know if you have in mind what I'm talking about. I have it right here. So
Oh.
yeah, exactly.
What prompted you to move back to paper for this?
What do you mean?
To move from drawing digitally back to physical paper for this one.
I don't know. It was a bit cold to work digitally, and I felt like I missed paper because I worked a lot in the past before starting drawing comics, and I felt like I don't know, it was the way to go. But it's a bit difficult because I'm too used to digital right now.
There's no undo key shortcut when you're.
But I try anyways. I find myself tapping with 2 fingers on the paper.
Yes, if you're listening and not watching, I'm miming hitting Command Z with my left hand where my keyboard would be. And then
okay.
this Battle Beast cover, since it is on paper, you can sell the original artwork for money.
Yes, there's
Okay.
that aspect. Yeah.
All right.
Whereas before you just had to sell your iPad, so it was getting quite expensive to keep on buying iPads every time you sold it. So when we spoke to you last, you were working on your iPads. Have you moved across to a different device?
Yes, there's a reason. I had, I guess it's called epicondylitis, a bad inflammation with my arm because working on a small screen like the iPad, I moved only the forearm So all the stress was here. And working on a larger screen, well, I use all the arm, not just the forearm. So even the shoulder, because I can make bigger movements.
For our viewers, I'm gonna back up 2 inches from my microphone and pick up my Cintiq and lug it in front of the camera. Here it is. Here's this giant thing. Yeah, it's still holding on to the metal. It's a monitor. It is just a second monitor, but it is a reactive. But it's got a heavy metal stand, and you can rotate it like a steering wheel. Now I'll pull the microphone back to me, and I will adjust my light. Anyway, it's like having a second monitor, except it's a giant tablet that you can draw on. And sometimes, viewers, you see me holding my stylus. So I also know the joys, Andrea, of drawing with or browsing the internet on a Cintiq.
And did changing the tools that you're using to draw, do you think it influenced your art? Do you think it had some changes as a result?
Yeah, for sure. Even just exporting the brushes from Clip Studio for iPad to Clip Studio for Windows, the brushes changed a bit, so I had to adjust them. But you can clearly see a difference between issue 7 and issue 8. The stroke is a little bit smaller.
Challenge accepted. I'm going to look at issues 7 and 8 right now, and I'm going to look for a smaller stroke. And is this guy telling the truth? Yes. Well,
you can see it.
I'm going to pretend I can see it in a hurry while doing a podcast. I don't know if I can. Let me compare a dramatic final page splash with a dramatic final page. Yeah, a little bit. Right,
well,
sorry,
maybe in black and white.
I'll hold these up.
And when we last spoke as well, you were just preparing for a trip to New York Comic Con, and I got to see some of the results of that, of the sketches that you shared on your Instagram. I think the Duke, you said, was a gift to Tom Riley. How was your New York Comic Con experience?
Well, it was very good. No, it was overwhelming. I was totally blocked sometimes because it was the first time meeting someone like Joshua and Robert. So I didn't expect that. And this time I'll be more prepared.
Wait, let's go back a step. So this was your first trip to the States a year ago for New York Comic Con in October of 2024?
Well, I don't think it counts when I was 1 year old with my parents. So yes.
Okay, your second trip to the States, your first to New York Comic Con. Had you been to any conventions that compared in size? Had you been to a big convention like that?
Well, Luca Comics is the second biggest in the world, so yes.
Okay.
But was way better organized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you were sitting at the Skybound booth, at the Skybound. No. Oh, no. Okay.
No. I was in the artist alley.
Okay.
There was something like Little Italy there with all Italian authors.
And I'm now remembering that I think I have heard that Skybound, Mark, is this right? Skybound does not officially set up at New York Comic Con. They set up at C2E2 and at San Diego. So there was probably an image booth at New York Comic Con, and certainly some Skybound people, but not a. Um,
I think they had some panels and things, didn't they? Skybound panels.
Yes. Andrea, did you get to, after the convention, stay and look around the city or travel to other cities?
No, I looked through the city just a few days before and the day after. I visit the what's called? Hold on. The National History Museum, Natural History Museum in
Natural History
Central Park.
Yeah, yeah. With the Hall of Mammals behind the glass cases, the animal sculptures with the painted backgrounds.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. So in terms of what you've been working on that I'm aware of, immediately, pretty soon after Cobra Commander, we saw you return to the Energon Universe with both covers for Destro, but also issue number 3 as a sort of one of the issues of the 5. We had you as the guest artist, telling a snowy story with Destro versus Chameleon. How was the experience of doing that little fill in there, revisiting sort of Destro and also getting to draw Chameleon, who I think you said that am I getting my wires crossed up? Did you help with the design of Chameleon?
No. It was
no.
already done.
Okay.
Okay. I have to say, I have to make a correction to the other podcast from the last time, because you asked me if how did I make the Nemesis Enforcer design, if it came out pretty naturally or did I? Yeah, I said that it came out pretty naturally, but that's just because I cannot tell you that there was a toy design that was coming out, so it's not my design.
Yeah. So when you were drawing Nemesis in the pages of Cobra Commander, that was before we all got to see the new classified Nemesis Immortal toy reveal. So you had a bit of an early view of that particular toy, and you were able to base your comic design on the toy, having seen it before the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. No, this time I didn't design anything. It was already done, Chameleon and the others. I mean,
Was your issue of Destro a rush job? Did you have a shorter time than normal to do that?
no. I had plenty of time. I just had to rush the free comic book day special. Yeah, I cannot say that.
Where did you fit that into your schedule? Had you already started drawing issue 7?
No. The script came to me the 23rd of December, so it was pretty pretty tight schedule, and I had like 2 or 3 weeks to wrap it.
Okay. I hesitate to ask a professional who can draw everything, was it hard drawing Transformers? But I do find there are artists who are really good at drawing people and who don't make an adjustment to drawing giant robots, and that there is a particular challenge in drawing Transformers stories because Transformers are all very big and then humans are all very small. So can you talk in a general sense for this Free Comic Book Day special and for your current issues what is it like now drawing more Transformers? Lots of scenes with Transformers.
Well, it was pretty difficult to draw Transformers, especially when they transform, But it was challenging, but it was worth it, I guess. Yeah. Seeing the pages now, I kinda like them, and that's strange.
Do you usually not like your pages when you look back at them later?
No, I hate them. I hate my own work. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm one of them.
But I think you must be your own worst critic, because I think, as I said in our last interview, typically when an artist is new, starting out, it's relatively obvious from their pages that they're a little bit inexperienced, bit learning, and it was an enormous surprise to realize quite how early on in your career you were when given the sort of the quality of the work on Cobra Commander and in the issues since. Even your first series, you wouldn't have guessed that it was the first work sort of from Dahlia in the Dark and so on. What about in terms of the gap between doing Cobra Commander and starting with the Free Comic Book Day and leading into G.I. Joe? Were there other things that you were working on in between? Was there much break before you moved from one to the other?
Yeah, there was plenty of break. I mean, there were months between the Cobra Commander series and G.I. Joe Free Comic Book Day. So I had to I could rest a bit, but then being a shared universe with all the titles, being these stories all connected. If you're late with one title, there's like a chain reaction, and you have to you have all the titles later, okay? So you cannot, you have to rush. It's mandatory. There's no time.
Did you draw a project, an unrelated project after Cobra Commander and the Destro issue and before the Free Comic Book Day issue?
No, just covers, some cards for others, but no, not other comics.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And at what point did you find out that you were going to be drawing a G.I. Joe arc? Was it something that you'd kind of been expecting to come along, or was it a bit of a surprise?
Well, I hoped to be in the Energon Universe. I knew I was going to do something else, but I didn't know I was drawing alongside Tom with this title. So I wouldn't say it was unexpected, but it was pretty welcomed. Yeah, it's an honor to work alongside him, and again with Joshua.
Mark, can you put up the Energon Universe cover with the keyboard?
Yep.
Andrea, there was Mark and I saw something that was mislabeled, and when we were talking about this cover, we initially thought that it was drawn by Tom Riley, and we said, "Oh, for this one cover, Tom Riley's drawing a lot like Andrea Milana." And then later on, the name was corrected, and we thought, "Oh, of course that's Andrea Milana. Those are his brushes, those are his line weights." And it wasn't until this cover and the Free Comic Book Day story that we realized how sympathetic your work and Tom Riley's work is. That they look and feel similar in a good way. That there isn't a big transition from the first 6 issues of G.I. Joe to the next 5 issues, and as readers, we feel like it's a very smooth change. And you know, comic books are filled with, the history of comic books are filled with examples of one artist drawing issues and then they miss an issue or they leave the book, and then someone else draws and they draw completely differently. And this has been a really welcome transition.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be still recognizable, but well, it was quite lucky to have this style quite similar to Tom's, but I made some adjustments to be more like him without being recognizable. But well, without being unrecognizable.
Is that something that you can, do you have an example of a way that you made your art look a little bit more like Tom Riley's?
Well, just look at Clutch's face. The way I draw the eyes, when the shapes are a bit smoother, a bit more rounded. But sometimes I lost it, actually. But I tried to be more like him.
Yeah, I can see that a character like Clutch feels like they're on model. I mean, going from, you know, on model, sort of going from one issue to the next, that it doesn't feel like, sometimes when there's a switch between an artist, it feels like almost like if it was a TV show that the actor has been recast. It's the same character, but they kind of don't really look the same. Whereas I think with a character like Clutch, it definitely feels very much like the same character, and sort of a nice continuity of styles in the approach for that. One of the observations I made, and I don't know whether just this is me picking up on something, or if it's something that changed in your style, was that it felt, I sort of felt like there was a bit more of the manga influence coming through in your approach to G.I. Joe, particularly with like a lot of speed lines in the art, that kind of thing. Do you think that you approach things any differently from that respect, or if there's a bit more manga style in the art?
Well, if there is, I didn't think about it. When I was young, I started drawing mangas. My first approach with comics was with mangas. So I still have something from Naruto or Dragon Ball, but very little right now. Yeah,
right.
they still have an influence.
Listeners and viewers, look for those Naruto and Dragon Ball speed
Please.
lines and poses and compositions in your pages of G.I. Joe.
There's like a 2% right now. It's way more Mike Mignola.
Aha. Aha.
Okay, so you're...
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because when I think of Mignola, I think of his covers primarily. I know he's drawn many issues and many interior pages, but I think about his silhouettes and how his characters, and how his characters are statuesque. They look very solid. They look like they like maybe they're statues and they don't move. I don't mean stiff. I mean sort of heavy and locked to the ground. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing in Mike Mignola's work that you're bringing to G.I. Joe?
Well, I'm not bringing that. How did you say? Not stiff, but
So statuesque, sort of heavy,
Statuesque,
blocky.
okay. Well, Mignola is way more statuesque than me, particularly in the movements, the action scenes. I try to be way more action-wise. Let's say it, action-wise. But what I took from Mike Mignola was the composition, the balance between blacks and whites. I tried to study it and to apply it in my drawings. I don't think it's are even close to him, but that's what I tried to take from him.
There's a panel on screen right now, the bottom right, which does not feel like the way that Mike Mignola would draw a character, where Beachhead in silhouette is kicking this bloodhound, and you have drawn his leg as a squiggly line, which feels more like a manga influence because it's something that's speeding in a blur. If this was a film, the camera wouldn't capture it. It would be a blur.
That's what I was trying to say. Sorry for for not being.
No, that's okay. We're happy to pick this apart.
And in terms of the time that you were given and some of the pressures that come with that, did you feel like there was a lot of time pressure to be able to get these issues done, or was it a relatively stable, steady pace across the issues?
Well, the time I had was plenty, was enough to conclude the work, but due to my arm, I felt like it was rushed. And in fact, like if you see the last issue, the 11th, it was a bit rushed. I tried to mask it using a bit larger brush, but you can tell it is a bit rushed. So to repeat myself, I had plenty of time, but I had some issues, and you can tell. I even had to transition from the iPad to the Cintiq in the meantime. So between this issue, the 7th that I made with the iPad, and the 8th, I had to rediscover a new workflow, a new setup. So it was a bit difficult, and that took some time. Yeah.
Andrea, what program, what software are you drawing in?
Clip Studio Paint.
Clip Studio Paint. Okay. So you have drawn these 5 issues in a row, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Someone else is drawing issue 12. Was there originally in the schedule, did you think you would draw 6 issues, or were you definitely only drawing 5?
Well, the plan was, okay, you draw 5 issues, and if there's time, you draw even a 6th. But the plan has changed a bit.
Do you know this artist who is drawing the next issue?
Not personally, but he has drawn mostly for Italian comics, for Sergio Bonelli, Marco Fodera.
So you Marco Fodera. So you know his work.
Yeah.
Okay.
He mostly worked on Martin Mister, that I didn't quite read. I was more for Dylan Dog, but he's famous in Italy. Yeah.
Dylan Dog has barely ever been published in America. Actually, I think Dark Horse did 6 small volumes of it about 20 years ago, and I think it had new covers by Mike Mignola. if
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
but it was only a little bit, and no one has gone back to it. No American publishers have gone back to it. Although there was this last year, 2 years ago, there was a 3-issue Batman Dylan Dog series, which was good writing, good art, good color. It was lots of fun. Mark,
I
I've been
personally
talking.
love, excuse me, I
Oh, please.
personally love Gigi Cavenago's work.
But yeah, it's interesting as well. The Skybound seem to have a real leaning towards Italian artists, particularly in the world of GI Joe. I think is it 3 that we've had, because we've had obviously yourself plus Marco on the Scarlet, and then a second Marco for issue 12 with Marco Federa. So, I wonder if there's something about the Italian artists that the editors at Skybound particularly like.
Well, I don't know that, but yeah, if you want to live with comics, you have to work for other countries like France, United States. So there's like an Italian invasion in comics around the world.
Yeah, and this kind of international looking to other countries is not new. There's what's called the Filipino invasion. In the 1970s, DC Comics started hiring a bunch of artists from the Philippines, and in the 90s, both DC and Marvel were hiring a bunch of artists from Brazil. And when Jim Lee moved to Italy for a year, and this was after he drew his year of Batman, and I think during his year of Superman, he shared a studio with a couple artists and became friends, and one or two of them started drawing work for Wildstorm, and then DC, and then Marvel. So this kind of thing has been happening for a long time. But Mark, you make a good point that this does feel specific to Skybound in Italy right now.
Yeah, and Marco Federa, I think, sort of mentioned something on Facebook along the lines of the Italian domestic publishing sort of just changing slightly, that perhaps there's just slightly less opportunity than there once was in terms of the amount of work being published directly into the Italian market. So artists perhaps are looking slightly further afield as a result.
Well, he has way more experience than me in the Italian market. I have 0. But I know, yeah, they're being paid less and less. So yes, it's physiological, I guess.
Moving back to the story and your art on the screen at the moment, I've flicked forward to one of my favorite pages from the arc, which is this hero shot of Raptor. It's a very different feeling to Raptor as this new character in the Energon universe versus the how he appeared, historically back in the 1980s as a lot more of a kind of a superhero villain type character. What can you tell us about Raptor and your approach to Raptor? I mean, we noticed that it's obviously taking a lot of direction from this new toy version from Classified. But yeah, what's he like to draw? Was he a fun character?
Yeah, it was a fun character, of course, because you have various elements to play with, especially the wings and the claws. But it was pretty difficult to approach it because every time I tried to draw him the first times, it was I don't know why. It was like a man in a pigeon suit. So it was It was pretty difficult to to make it cool like the toy.
I would imagine part of the challenge is his silhouette and the poses that he's going to take. If you're used to someone with two arms and two legs, but now they also have two giant wings, but the wings fold and move, then there start to be all of these additional elements that it feels like it would be harder to sort of, get a pose that's going to work at the beginning. I feel like if I was drawing this character, I would draw a pose and then erase it and then try again and then try again.
I don't know the other artists, but I felt like it was easier actually, because as I said, you have the elements to make it, I don't know, way more dynamic, or if you want to direction your I don't know how to say it, your sight. If you want the reader to look in a specific direction, you can use those elements to make it look that way. Like, I don't know, in the 10th issue, I guess. I have it right here. Yeah. 1, 2. In the second page. Yeah. I could play with the, that Z-like composition using those wings.
The crisscrossing of his wings against the city streets in Paris.
Yeah, exactly.
You are drawing Raptor's wings and his backpack freehand, right? There is no 3D model in the computer that you are moving or rotating. You are not tracing anything.
Well, Raptor, no. I always drawn him freehand, but like Paris, I had to use a little bit, Google Maps, Google Earth, to find that place and to make it easier for me. And some other cases, for example, in Destro, when he pilots that, I don't know how it's called.
The despoiler? His sort of flying little mini jet thing.
Exactly. I tried to draw it freehand, but I wasn't satisfied with it, so I pre-modeled it, and then I traced it.
Wow,
that's great.
Crikey, that's going the extra mile. But the other great character in this arc was, of course, Major Bloods, and yeah, he's just one of the a fan favorite character anyway. But anytime he appears, it's a delight, and he's sort of got a bit more focus in this particular arc. And yeah, he appears quite a lot, and is he's just a nasty guy, isn't he? He's sort of he's shooting the Joes, he's shooting police, he's having fun with knives. Can you tell us about drawing Major Blood, perhaps?
Well, it was funny, yeah, definitely, because you can play with him a lot, being so theatrical, I guess. So he's all exaggerated. His poses, his face, his expressions. I could, I could go wild with him.
Yeah, there's a moment in the most recent issue where he was licking a knife after he'd stabbed the Baroness. Do some of those touches they come from you, or is most of the detail in the script?
No, it's all Joshua's work. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Tim wondered about
was it too much?
No, it was great. He is a villain. He is a very, very bad, dangerous, terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've read some comments of readers that didn't like that much this major plot being so not so bad. I mean,
Mark, I liked him.
I think the more villainous the better, to be honest. I think
okay.
Sometimes you're just allowed to have someone who's just a bit more of almost an exaggeration of a real bad guy with little redeeming features as possible.
This is a storyline with giant alien robots, and so sometimes normal behavior has to be exaggerated to have any effect, and something that is a subtle change, a subtle action, a subtle expression might not come across with the same effect. So yeah, sometimes it has to really get exaggerated.
And on this page, I did have an observation of a similarity, which was one of my prompts for sort of manga influences. And this, at the time I pointed this out, it's not. I'm not saying it's a swipe. Clearly these are different faces, but there's a certain similarity and sort of give me some good language for this, Tim. But
these two characters have a similar phenotype. They have a similar likeness to their faces and physiology, and they're making a similar expression, and we are looking at them from the same angle. But it's probably a coincidence, right?
Well, yes. I didn't do it on purpose. I swear. But yeah, I read, of course, Akira, and I like Otomo's work, so it influenced me as well. So.
Yeah, if I'm saying there's something in your work that reminds me of Otomo, it's definitely not any sort of criticism. Right. There are worse things to be compared to, I think.
Yeah.
Sure. Mark, can you go back to the previous page, which was just the artwork without the color?
Yeah.
Okay, Andrea, can you talk about not leaving much of the paper, not leaving much of the page white? That when you turn in your artwork, you are using some light gray tones and some medium gray tones. And I think I'm surprised that the base is this light gray, that there is no whites. So can you talk about what you're establishing for your color artists?
Well, it's less stressful for the eyes to not have so much contrast between the whites and the blacks. So I never use a total white for the backgrounds, even because it's not that necessary for the colorist. I mean, I have this gray back on which I work. I do my inks, and then there's a mask with the grid. Where I trace the panels.
So this light gray, this is a layer you can turn on and off. Is this less about is this less about directing the color artist to dull the page and more about just having something easier to look at while you draw and while the colorist starts coloring?
Yeah, it's definitely a second. Yeah, it's not. It's not an indication for the colorist.
Okay, you are not creating values, but so Mark, can you go back to the page with Raptor flying over Paris, page 2? So it feels like the yellow in the first panel is on top of white, not a light gray. And the light gray that we're seeing here, again, that's more about when you draw and when the color artist starts to color, not having a bright, high contrast, sort of painful image to look at. That's not you necessarily saying, dull this, make this quiet, make this softer.
Exactly, but the inks in this case were a suggestion for Lee to say, okay, this is lighter than the rest.
Okay, so the city in that first panel, you were suggesting that all those buildings not be a pure black, but be some kind of color, which, Mark, you can go to the next slide. Right, so Lee Lowridge takes those and turns those into a medium brown and a dark brown.
Yes.
This is a good transition. So the Cobra Commander miniseries you drew, and it was colored by Annalisa Leone. And these 5 issues of G.I. Joe are colored by Lee Lowridge, and these two color artists have a very different approach. Leone's colors are brighter and more saturated and remind me more of animation paint, of cell paint. Maybe not the approach, but the actual color choices. And Lee Lowridge uses a lot of muted, grayed, less saturated colors. Can you talk about any back and forth you had with him, or any instructions or expectations you had for these issues of G.I. Joe?
Well, I didn't have any suggestions for him. He did it all by himself, and I think he did a pretty good job. Just sometimes I had to draw the shadows as well, because I wanted them to be specific. I wanted a specific shadow, so I drew it.
Maybe like I'm gonna guess. Maybe here.
Well, I was talking about more like I guess issue 8. But no. Wait, hold on. No, issue 9. I was talking about the first pages of issue 9. Yes, those ones.
Okay, so like this shadow on the back of Raptor and down on the street where Baroness and CoverGirl are running.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And I mean the whole page. I drew the shadows. I've drawn the shadows on the whole page. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And on the characters as well. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
But despite this, I didn't tell him anything.
Cool. Let's have a look at the fight in the death pit. So we had a discussion. Yes, we had a lively discussion about our interpretation of this particular bit of the story and what was happening here. That it looks like CoverGirl is stabbing the Baroness in the back, and you know, we're seeing a blood splurt. And then when the story picks up in the next issue, it's, you know, it's not like she's got a knife stuck out of her back, and the story is sort of able to continue. What was your kind of understanding of that particular story beat? What do we think is what are we meant to think is happening here?
Well, I didn't know what was happening. Of course, I didn't have the scripts of the next issues. So the first time I've drawn it, I had the point of the knife just going out of yeah, exactly. And Joshua goes like, no, not like this, but way more like on the flank, on the side, I mean. So it's not that bad, okay? Let's just say that.
The side of the knife.
No, the side of her.
The side of the Baroness.
Yes.
Okay, but not impaling her and not poking through her.
No,
Okay.
that was the first my first approach.
So, are we supposed to see this as a fake out, as that they're trying to trick Major Blood? Because it looks like the knife, even though we can't see the knife, Mark and I assumed that the knife had gone in pretty far and that the Baroness was greatly wounded and would have a hard time recovering from this. So we were trying to figure out how much of an injury, how far the knife goes in, or if the knife really goes in at all.
Well, I think I drawn it a little too small because there is an answer in the comic.
Okay.
Well, in the 10th. Well, I don't remember exactly the page. Just let me find it. Yeah, okay. It's this one. No, okay. Okay, you can see it well right here.
Oh.
Yeah, that was mole.
So it's a nick. It's a small slash on her side.
Yeah,
It's
a
not
slash.
Okay. Okay.
It didn't penetrate that much.
Ah, okay.
But it is a stab.
Okay, enough to draw blood, but yeah, as you say, in her flank, in her side, but not sort of all the way in. So it's drawn blood, but not crippled her.
Okay, so flank was right in the word I used.
I think so. I guess it's just not it's not maybe such a common word that we'd use. I guess.
Okay.
I think about it. I don't know. Flank of, is that more about beef? A piece of.
That's a word you could use to describe a person that you're
you're
fighting in a death pit.
It's not an incorrect word. I think it's just a less frequently used word. Okay, cool. So that was Baroness explaining the story of Baroness's stab, and then we also had a lively discussion about this particular panel as well, where it's Baroness and Covergirl fighting, and I think this is at this point we're meant to think that or they're leading Major Blood to think that Baroness has broken Covergirl's neck, if I'm remembering correctly, and there's a big crack, and I think Tim and I were sort of talking about what exactly is happening here, and I imagine maybe she's faking out and she's hitting her foot down, and possibly that's creating the crack. Did you have any thoughts on?
No, here Baroness is smashing her face on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of dust. Yes, that's right.
Right.
So we're seeing,
and she breaks her nose. You can see in the last pages of issue 11 that she has a patch on her nose.
Okay. Right, and her nose is bleeding. Covergirl's nose is bleeding 2 pages after the one we're looking at, still in issue 10.
Mm.
where
Yeah.
she says
Yes.
surprise.
Oops.
Okay. I think Andrea, you know, there's this famous Batman comic from the 90s where Bane breaks Batman's back,
Yeah.
and a version of that scene happened in one of the movies. I think we're a little programmed from reading comics that when two comic book, I think we have an expectation when we read comics that if a hero and a villain are fighting and one of them throws one down and there's this very specific sound effect, crack, that it's a bone breaking, and it might be someone's back. And I understand that this is not maybe the pose that the Baroness would take to but the sound effect is so big. I think we
It was also in part, I think, because of the preceding panel had CoverGirl in a headlock, and we were like, "Is that her? You know, breaking her neck and the crack from that?" But yeah, I don't think we spotted that I guess the impact mark on the floor. I think is the bit of the puzzle that we didn't quite
No,
spot.
you're right. That's a mistake. That's my mistake.
I think I want that impact mark on the floor. I think I want that bit of dust to be like yellow to match the sound effect, crack, or red to be sort of, I know the blood wouldn't have started flowing out of her nose. But I also sort of wondered if maybe the Baroness was breaking CoverGirl's arm, something to make this loud sound effect. But we do understand the broader story here that they're faking CoverGirl's death so that blood will come down and he won't be as on the defensive. And then the Baroness here even says in the past tense she had a name, right? She's not talking about her as if she's still alive.
Yes.
And I won't put it on the screen now, just for spoilers. But in the most recent episode as well, there's some particularly grisly scenes with Major Blood getting his just desserts, shall we call it, or at least Baroness defeating him in a way that she could escape, and that was quite a powerful splash page. Are you able to talk about creating a page like that? Maybe your experience of reading it for the first time, and then figuring out how am I going to bring this to life as a drawing?
No, it was not so difficult. I mean, when there's this kind of scenes, you have to cover as much as possible. And you cannot draw directly what is happening, so it's much more of a silhouette. Even when in Cobra Commander, Nemesis just rip off the arms of that guard. Even that one was a silhouette drawing, so are quite easy. There's not much to think about.
Is there a version that you drew that had less silhouettes or more detail, and someone at Skybound said, whoa, too much, too violent? In the case of this page with the Baroness and Major Blood, the one that we...
It was accepted. First try.
First try. Love it. And speaking of first tries, do you find that most of the time the layout of the page comes relatively smoothly, that you get it on the first try, or do you find yourself getting relatively far into a page and going, oh, I'm not sure about this, maybe I start again?
No, I always work a lot on the layouts. I take a whole week just to draw 20 pages of layout, so I never turn back on that. Just one time happened on Cobra Commander. just because I was near Rome in the studio with Lorenzo De Felici, and there was one particular scene that didn't convince me, so I asked him a little bit of help.
You're referring to Felici, the artist who drew Void Rivals.
Yeah, Lorenzo De Felici, yes.
Cool. Okay. Mark, you have a cover on screen right now. Should we talk about Andrea's covers for this this 5-issue run? Andrea, what description were you given for these covers that you drew?
Just Cover Girl and and oh god, and Raptor. Yeah. Sorry, sometimes I forgot their names. They're too much.
Just them fighting. Just a cool cover of them fighting.
Just them fighting.
And then, Mark, was it the issue before or the issue before that, which is a reference to a movie?
The Bad
still,
Boys
or?
poster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your covers for. Oh, go ahead.
It was just an idea of mine. Actually, I didn't really know what to draw, so I took this opportunity to homage that movie.
Okay.
And I think I asked you on Instagram when you posted this cover of the Baroness, which I think was issue number 8, and you said you didn't necessarily have a huge amount to go on, so it was kind of draw a cool image of the Baroness.
No, even because at the time I didn't know anything about. Just look at. No, I don't think. In the final version, do you have the okay? Look at the signature. It was 2024. So.
Oh.
Right.
That's so you had not gotten any scripts yet.
Nope.
So you drew all 5 covers, or most of the 5 covers before you started?
Most of the 5 covers, yeah.
Okay, before you got to draw issue 7, before you saw a script for issue 7. Okay, so you just had the general idea that Cover Girl and Baroness are together somewhere, and Raptor is a bad guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, when I drew the Raptor one, I already drew him in the comics.
Okay. So
that was the most recent one.
So this cover that we're looking at right now, with the Baroness looking over her shoulder and holding a knife, Mark and I were trying to interpret the background. What are you seeing? What are you drawing in that background? Because it is both really particular and also general and vague at the same time. I think it sort of reminds us of something, even if it's not a specific place where Baroness is in the story. What is this background to you?
Honestly, it's nothing. It's just dirt with some kind of light. It's nothing specific for real.
French dirt.
Yeah.
With French light.
Yeah,
actually,
specifically a pit dirt. A French pit dirt.
I'm joking about dirt and light, but actually, different parts of different countries and different times of day have very different light. And I have not been in Paris in a long time, but my wife and I watched the TV show The Office, the American version of The Office, and it takes place in Pennsylvania, and the show is filmed in Southern California, or it was filmed in Southern California. And in the story, whenever they're outside or whenever they're driving to New York, my wife and I will sort of elbow each other and chuckle, because that is definitely the light of Southern California and not the lights of Pennsylvania on the East Coast of America. And, I don't know what, evening light looks like in Paris. I have not been in any death pits underground in Paris. But this is one of the fun ways that in movies and TV and comics you can sort of exaggerate and cast one place as another, or just create a different look.
Well, I don't know either, but maybe this is some French light.
Very good. Speaking of peculiarity, we were talking about death pits. One of the questions that we had when we looked at the most recent issue was that it looked like Major Blood had drawn blood on the Baroness, and then it looks like maybe he sort of throws dirt from the pit at her, and she says it burns, and we were like, just trying to interpret what that meant. Was it that the dirt was going in her eyes or into the wounds, or do you have a sense?
Well, he mostly thrown the dirt in her eyes despite the glasses. Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't think about the wounds, but I think it fits.
Very good. Was there anything else about this run that you wanted to talk about or ask about specifically, Tim?
Well, we've talked about Transformers, and we've talked about Raptor's costume and Major Blood. I don't have any other specific questions. I am curious, Andrea, what did you start working on after issue 10? Can you tell us what you're working on now?
I don't think so. No.
Well, there you have it.
I thought about it a bit, but I don't think I can talk about anything right now.
Okay, but it is comics. You are working on a comic right now.
Comics for Skybound, yeah.
Oh, okay. Comics for Skybound. Cool. Neat.
And
there is just one little thing I thought about when you showed Tim I think the 8th cover that Tom Riley had drawn. No, okay, it was not the 8th. No. Yes, that one.
That one. The one with the Paris skyline and the Eiffel Tower and...
Exactly. Have you seen in the 11th issue?
Yes.
The last page with Cover Girl and Raptor. Do you have it?
Yeah, give me a second. I'll pull it up.
This is where Cover Girl says to the Baroness, "You should join me up here."
Yes.
Okay.
That page.
Are you drawing a scene to match Tom Riley's cover from 2 issues earlier?
Yes, exactly. The building on the right.
Yeah, with the staircase. That's funny.
I tried to quote Tom Riley's work.
All right, so folks, if you're listening and not watching, we're comparing Tom Riley's cover A for issue 9 of G.I. Joe with one of the last pages of issue 11, interior work by Andrea Milana.
Yes, that's cool. I did see the similarity, but I didn't say it out loud, and now I'm kicking myself for not making that clever comparison when we were looking at this issue. But that is a nice callback to the original cover. A good cool touch. Was there anything else about this run in terms of, I don't know, a particular moment or character or something that you found interesting or difficult that we've not spoken about?
Well, is it was way more difficult to draw this than Cobra Commander series.
Okay.
Well, for the amount of characters, of course, but specifically because the designs were all made by Tom. So I felt like I just borrowed them for this story. Instead of in Cobra Commander, I felt the characters more mine.
Hmm.
So it was more difficult for me to draw them.
Because you feel like every time you draw a character, you're trying to match what this other artist has done.
Yes.
Whereas if you have originated a costume design, even if you were going to come up with a very similar costume design, it's just sort of that much faster to draw it, or you're not thinking about if you're matching someone else's design.
Exactly. Well, I felt way more Raptor's design than the others.
Because, so you felt more connected with the Raptor design because you were the first person to be drawing that no one else had done it?
Yeah, that's the word. I felt way more connected. Yes. Thanks for translating my bad English.
But that one is a Tom Riley design, right?
Well,
No,
it's more a
no.
classified
Oh, of
toy
course.
being interpreted.
It's a classified, yeah.
Of course.
Okay, cool. And we started our conversation talking about New York Comic Con 2024, but it won't be too long before we are in New York Comic Con 2025. Because you're going back to New York.
Yes, that's right.
So
I'm going to have fun again.
What is this trip like? How many days will you be in New York? What table will you be at? Will you explore anything else of the city?
I don't think I will explore more of New York. It depends. I don't know. For sure, the first thing I'll do once in New York is going to Bleak to make some shopping.
Oh, the art supply store.
Yes.
Okay. Is this because you can't get great art supplies at home, or is this because you're stocking up for New York Comic Con?
Some specific materials are not commercialized in Italy.
Oh,
You
okay.
cannot find them. Yeah.
Okay, so a certain kind of marker or pen or paper.
More like paper, yes.
Interesting. Okay. So you'll go to Blick, and how many days before the convention do you arrive?
I'll arrive the 7th. So I don't remember right now when it starts.
It starts on the 9th. New York Comic Con, I believe, is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay.
I think.
I'll arrive the morning of the 7th, so I'll have 2 days. Yes.
Okay. So back to the Museum of Natural History?
No, I don't think so. Even if I didn't explore it well, but I think I'll go see some other things.
Okay. Are you meeting up with anyone? Do you have friends in New York or friends who are going to New York who will be at the convention?
Well, I hope to see Tom again. I've talked a lot with him the last time, so I hope to see him again, and Joshua as well.
Cool.
Yes.
And you will have a table in Artist Alley again?
G14. Yes, I'm reading it right now.
Okay, right. Mark has put on screen what I'm thinking is an image from your social media, which is a subway car where your name is listed in the light up sign in the window, and then the train is labeled Artist Alley G14, and then part of your Invincible Presents Battle Beast cover art as if it's a giant graphic wrapped on the side of the subway car.
Yes.
All right, so you'll be at Artist Alley, and you're not doing any panels, so you'll just be drawing and talking and signing.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do any panels in the foreseeable future because I'm too, let's say, shy.
Well, we
I
appreciate
don't like to be on display.
we appreciate that you give us the opportunity to talk to you in this contained and changeable, editable. This is a format we can edit. We appreciate that you give us this time to talk to you. When the convention is over on Sunday, are you staying in New York? Are you going around at all? Or are you heading right back home?
No, I'm going right back home.
Because you have
And back
some
to
comic
work.
to draw.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
Well, if another time you come to the States, if you fly to New York, it's a 4-hour train from New York to Boston, where I am, and I own a comic book store, and it would be fun to have you do a signing. I can't guarantee as many people will pay for your wonderful sketches and commissions during a brief, afternoon signing at my store as a 4-day convention in New York City. But I can certainly show you some nice things around Boston.
Oh yeah, I hope so. I hope I have the time to do this.
Cool.
Yes, it will be cool.
Nice. I've got well, one more thing to edit about.
Oh, I'll say, Andrea, there's a chance that I will be at New York Comic Con.
Oh, okay.
And if I am, I will come to your table and say hello in person. And if you're tired and overwhelmed, I will remind you who I am. I won't expect you to look up from a stack of drawings and immediately know who I am.
Oh no, come on! I'll recognize you. Come on.
Say, and sometimes there are cool signings and at Hub Comics. There we do.
Yeah, so we had Tom Riley at my store last year when issue 1 of G.I. Joe came out, and he did that sketch for Mark and sketches for some other people, and then a neat one for me, and then he and I had dinner, and it was great. It was a nice day. So it's fun when I can have any kind of signing at my store, but particularly fun when it's a G.I. Joe signing because I'm such a G.I. Joe fan.
Oh, yes.
Cool. So that's probably a good time to remind our listeners that if they want to find you online, Instagram, Andrea Milana Art, all one word, seems to be the place to go to find you and keep up to date with all of your latest art and projects. So, Tim, where can you be found on the internet when you're not talking to me and distinguished guests?
Video essays at YouTube at Atomic Abe. My comic book store is Hub Comics. We have a website and we are a physical location. And I write about G.I. Joe at my blog, arealamericanbook.com.
Fantastic stuff. And a reminder that if you are new to Talking Joe, you can find us at our website, talkingjoe.co.uk, which points to all the places we can be found: YouTube, podcast platforms, Facebook, where everyone gets together and talks about latest G.I. Joe news and Talking Joe episodes, including Cool Kids, who get early stuff on patreon.com/talkingjoe, like Richard, Sam, Bill, Rob, Shane, Simon, Chris, Joe, Craig, Frank, Mike, D, Shane, Infinite Entertainment, Patrick, Gary V, and latest member Cold Droff. Thanks to all of those guys. So I think we're in wrap-up mode. Thanks so much, Andrea, for joining us once again. 1 year on from the last time we spoke to you, and getting to hear about the experiences of creating G.I. Joe and more. And we look forward to seeing both your next work outside of G.I. Joe, but also any time that you return back to G.I. Joe, of course, we'll be more than happy to see you return. Once again, really enjoyed the latest arc. It was a great story. Fantastic. So I think that leaves us just to say, Tim, that
Nobody Beats Talking Joe, an international podcast.
Laters.